Welcome back. We have Mr. Sanjiv Bhasin joining us to talk to us about individual stocks and what looks good right now. Mr. Bhasin wanted to begin by discussing these oil marketing companies itself. A massive run-up. Somit was telling us 60% run-up for HPCL in 2 months, over 30% for the likes of IOCL, BPCL. And of course, there's this always worry what happens to the price, whether it will be cut or not. What should investors do right now? Just take some profits off the table or continue holding?
Yeah, good morning. Anisha, firstly, this has been one of the most hated sectors. That's why you saw such a big scramble. I mean, when in my 30 years have I seen Hindustan Copper go up from Diwali 130, it is up to 270 in less than 1.5 months. So, the scramble is because there has been huge underperformance by mutual funds who had said, with a bar sport, stay away from PSUs. And now you have oil marketing companies, which I've been reiterating they are getting a double benefit of lower crude from Russia, plus the rupee trade, plus refining on both hard and soft, and now the stellar value. I cannot advocate to buy yesterday, day before. I've been coming out with buy calls on all the three OMCs, and I didn't believe. I thought 20% in another 6 months, but 10% in a day is humongous. It still tells me there is a lot of left out feeling. You are right, there can be a little bit of volatility because of the price cuts. You have to bear in mind that there will be electional political pressure and so on. But these are very steady businesses which have just started to see unlocking after almost 5 years. I still think HB and IOC are poised to go higher. As a disclosure, these have been in our portfolio. But like you said, the volatility is not your friend because right now they are, they've had such a superb run up. So wait for declines or do a SIP or do a mutual fund in the CPSE ETF, which has some of these constituents.
And, maybe I'm sticking to a similar theme, but PSUs at large have done very well. And amidst this basket, the defense and railway stocks in particular have had tremendous returns. Just pull up, the year-to-date returns of any of these names and you're bound to see double, if not triple-digit gains on the likes of a Titagar, Texmaco, and even the likes of an HAL. So what's the strategy here? Is it going to be the similar one for OMCs, Sanjeev, in terms of perhaps those who missed the bus?
Yeah, good morning, Aman. But defense and railways has been the theme for the year. OMCs have just come to realization that the numbers from say IOC, which came out with a profit of 13.5 crore on an EBITDA of 26,000 crore, is going to see a lot of more light. And you always touted them to be a proxy to oil prices without realizing how much of benefiting the Russian crisis actually gave them at cheaper discount and so on. I still think the railway and defense stocks will run up, but will do well. But don't expect the type of run up you've already seen. A BEL, a Bharat, an HAL, RVNL, IRFC have almost tripled in the last 2 years or 1.5 years. So, a little bit of caution there. Don't chase a rising tide like it is now. This is a left out feeling. Wait, there will be opportunities or nibble into them with a SIP. And like I said, the CPSE ETF or a mutual fund which has these are the theme could be a better alternative because then you will buy a basket of stocks.
That's an interesting way to play it. So it's better to, play through the basket of those stocks. In the meantime, let's just get in a take as to what really stood out in yesterday's trade. And Coal India at the top of the heap. You had positive brokerage notes as well coming in on this one. And Auto as well contributed, not to mention an ITC, DRL, really packed in a punch yesterday. Sanjeev, let's get in a take then as to what would be the top recommendation for the next year when it comes to the entire auto pack and metals.
Yeah, so Avan, we continue to like Maruti. Ashok Leland is our dark horse play on the rise in bus demand, in the rise in the travel between for Indigo, their bus demand on the EV side. As you are seeing, there's replacement by DTC and others. Thirdly, their CV market, they are growing into from market share, taking market share from Tata Motors. And fourthly, their intermediate commercial vehicle is doing extremely well. Ashok Leland is a dark horse there, and we are very, very bullish on Hero and Bajaj Auto. Not to forget that Bosch would be our top OEM play over there. On the metals front, we still think Nalco is going to be a star dark horse. It is hitting new highs. But remember, Nalco has had an 8,000 capex, which now comes on the stream. And aside from iron ore and their underlying asset of bauxite will do very well. And those prices have started to move up. So aluminium, bauxite, and iron ore go hand in hand for Nalco. I think Nalco can be a huge outperformer on the metal side. You can add a Tata Steel, which has done nothing much as far as price performance, but the sheer asset base of steel, rising steel prices will be the biggest conduit for Tata Steel. So Tata Steel, Nalco, and the third one which I named are going to be outperformers over here. Tata Steel and Nalco are two big picks, and the third one would be Hindalco.
So Bhasin साहब, how you been? मैं दिल्ली आया था जी, मिलना नहीं हुआ आपसे.
सर आपने मैसेज ही नहीं किया निकुंज जी, मैं तो आपका वेट कर रहा था सेलिब्रेट करने के लिए. ईटी पे जो शेयर जा रहे हैं वो धड़ाधड़ जा रहे हैं. आपने सही कहा था, दिवाली से आपने कहा था वी विल बी हैविंग अ ब्यूटीफुल न्यू ईयर, और देखिए इससे अच्छा साल क्या हो सकता है.
What a year it's been. I mean, so true, Bhasin Saab, what a year it's been. I mean, normally you see equities do well or you see bonds do well. But this is one of the rare years where Bitcoin, gold, equity, even bond markets have rallied. And if that was not enough in the latter half of this year, I mean, last 3 months we've seen comeback even in, emerging markets. It's just been such a beautiful year where you would say that when we will look back, for example, when we look back and we talk about India, we talk about the great bull market of 2003 to 2007. Similarly, we talk about the great bull market which has started and which we are part of, let's say, when it started post the COVID crack. So I think 2023 would really be a pivot year. It would be a pivot year because just about everything, and I'm not talking about financial markets here, I'm just talking about from the positioning of India, both in terms of a global stature, from Chandrayaan to what we've done in the world of what we've done, let's say in the world of startup, to how things have moved on the external front for us. It's just been a beautiful year. As long as you kept the faith, you were not sitting on cash. The only thing that has underperformed this year, Bhasin Saab, I think is cash.
Excellently put, Nikunj. And you forgot to mention our sports person aside from the cricketers. Look at how proud Neeraj Chopra made you by 2 gold medals. Our whole the women, how they performed in boxing and other sports. And I would say 2023 is the year of other sports, particularly athletics, where we never ever knew that we would be one of the contenders in gold medals in such a big way. So I think it's hats off to India. And Nikunj, the credit goes to the retail investor. The mutual fund industry is just starting to grow. They never ever imagined that the asset base is going to rise like this. So it's not any thank you to the FIs. It is only the retail investor who's putting his money where his mouth is. And this financialization of savings can be the theme for the next many, many years or rather decades.
So let's talk about a stock of the year. Let's just name it and we will call it Sanjiv Bhasin stock of the year for 2024. Give us one name.
Because you always make me put my hair out and I don't have many hair left now. But I still think 2 names, SW Solar and DCB Bank. SW Solar, just did a placement of 1,500 crore. As a QIP, it was oversubscribed 12 times. It has an 18 crore equity, which has got further diluted by about 10%. But the order book from the Nigeria business is expected to be 40,000 crore in FY25. As yet, there is not a single order from the parent group, that is Reliance Energy, which has already committed 35 gigawatts. So you can imagine 12% is their charge, is the percentage which they make. You're talking of an EBITDA of 5,000 crore, 350 is a fixed cost. You cannot but have your money double in this stock. As a disclosure, this has been one of our big portfolio picks from the last 1.5 years. It may have underperformed. It is starting to perform, but be prepared for a very, very big breakout when this starts to trade above 500. I don't rule out 750 and beyond. My second pick would be DCB Bank. I think the Aga Khan's promoters have put in more capital at a premium. They are seeing growth, particularly in 2-wheeler autos, in 3-wheeler autos, and in the agri and gold loan. The only bank which I think is a very, very attractive stock at below 1-time price to book It has an excellent NIM and a net interest income. As a disclosure, I would suggest today the CD norms which are going where the credit deposit ratios to be brought below 75. Some of these new age banks, particularly IDFC Bank, will be very affected by this as NIMs fall below 75, as NIMs are affected by at least 75 basis point. Plus, there's a merger talk which can be negative in the short run. I don't think IDFC First has any room on the upside. I'm not telling you to short it, but I'm saying convert it into DCB Bank. DCB Bank and SW Solar are doublers in 2024, Nikunj.
Bhasin Saab, what will be the theme for 2024? The laggards will become leaders or leaders will remain leaders?
So, Nikunj, I think it's about time. If the market has to do well, then the large caps have to do well. I think there will be money taken off the mid caps. You cannot have persistence of such and please take it with a pinch of salt. Nobody, not even no fund manager has been able to keep up the returns which some of the PSUs and mid caps have given. So you are right. Portfolio managers have had a tough time aping the actual results which have been stellar for a large part of the mid cap basket. I would expect some plateauing over there. And I would expect large caps to be back, particularly some of the financials, the large cap banks. But I think EVs as a theme, I mentioned Ashok Leland, I mentioned SW Solar. These are all going to be very. If you just read today, there is an incentive on 800 buses to be, go under the FAME 3, which again means diesel EV on that side for Ashok Leland becomes a very positive point. So I think auto select on the EV side, EV players on the solar and a solar panel side, and the select banks. These could be outperformers, but I would put my money more on Nifty rather than the mid caps.
Mr. Bhasin, we let you go. Thanks so much for making time and speaking with us.